Evening, folks. It's your friendly neighborhood MIB here. Just continuing on my vlog about my adventures in the Indy Lightsaber Academy. Got a lot to go over tonight, so I'm kind of excited. First thing I wanted to go over, though, real quick is my loadout. Some people are like, well, what do you mean lightsabers? Well, let me explain. This is what I'm currently using. It is made by the company Ultra Sabers. I'll probably put a link in there in the description. There's a few others out there, but Ultra Sabers is usually the one that everybody likes to use, especially for fake combat like this. They construct a unique and movie replicas of basically lightsabers. Typically they light up at the very least. They've also make ones that have different soundboards, different colors, things like that. This is what they consider if I'm not mistaken on their website, is a Dark Ascension or Dark Initiate version 4. In what's called Blazing Orange, if you couldn't already figure it out. They do have colors ranging all across those colors of the rainbow into silver, teal, red, blue, green, whatever. My saber, I did what they call a grab bag, which I personally find for a beginner was a great idea, because some of these sabers, these stunt sabers, can run upwards of a couple $100 depending on what kind of features you want. Mine, I did a grab bag feature, which is what they have. Basically, they will choose a hilt. And you can choose the color. There will be no sound, and everything functions, but they do say that on their website that there may be some cosmetic problems that might not be quite up to spec. On mine, when I first got it, I noticed a few scuffs, and my button housing is just a touch loose. Other than that, not all that bad. I think it ended up being, I think it's like $59.99 before taxes and shipping. And they, like I said, they choose the hilt, so you could get one that is quite possibly, one of their better ones that costs, bare minimum, $100. There will be no sound, but again, for first-time folks that are doing something like this, that's not that big of a deal. I looked at it like I don't necessarily need something that makes noise, and I can always add it later. After shipping, I did FedEx 2-day shipping so that it was guaranteed to be delivered with a signature. I think it ended up being just north of $100, so I found that to be a pretty solid deal. For a first-time saber, and again, I'll put a link to their website in the description. So today, we decided, or I should say, I got to class, and definitely felt better after going, into class the second time, in 2 weeks. Kind of graduated a little bit. I started off in our beginners class because they hadn't been able to spar with anybody yet, and I wasn't exactly 100% certain what they meant when they did that. Brushed up a little bit on my basic strikes, and then we were called over. Those that have done the basics, the basic strikes for more than a few weeks, were called over to start sparring. Now, sparring is exactly as it sounds. Very light taps. There was a few solid hits. I've got a couple of good shiners in my arms. I took a good one on the fingertip, and that's what I get for not wearing gloves. But no big deal there. No real injury, but it was basically a 2-minute fight. Basically just light tapping, scoring for points, kind of like you do with like kendo or even fencing, depending on where you go. So I had a chance to kind of get into that, and I'll tell you, it felt just awesome getting into that sparring. I did lose my first fight based on points. To be honest, I fell into an old idea of the way I used to play in the live-action role-playing games I did, which was a lot of fluid motions, which, when dealing with this kind of combat, looked like I wasn't in control. I completely understand that, so I need to quit doing that, because a lot of my strikes were I was striking, and then I was swinging back into my on-guard position. That's kind of a big no-no. I got to make sure I don't do that. If I'm going to be swinging and using fluid motions, go straight into another strike. Definitely was able to stay out of the way of my opponent. The old instinct of best defense is not to be there kicked in. Definitely felt like I was in control. My muscle memory kicked in, so I was feeling solid there. Definitely feel like after this week I'm going to stick with style 1. at least until I feel like I've mastered it. I might go into one of the later ones. I'm not going to go into one of the more specialized styles. I feel like there's a style 2 which is more like fencing. There's also one where you're holding your saber upside down and you're using underhanded side strokes. Don't feel like those are either one of those are kind of for me. I know through my research online, there's a style 7 which is just hardcore attack. And I'm definitely interested in seeing what that looks like in real life. But I think I'm going to stick with style 1 for right now. Just because I think that the true mastery of getting into this is going to be quite awesome, and that's where the real showmanship is going to stick out, is when I finally master Form 1. Other than that, pretty solid day. Like I said, just got a chance to spar a little bit. Got a couple of big tournaments coming up at a couple of conventions. Also one in June. Not sure if I'm going to be able to make all of those. But again, definitely feeling like, those, at least graduating into the sparring aspect of things, was really, really good. Felt better continuing to do my basic strikes. I found a good drill to work on my control, because again, this is stage combat, so I got to make sure I'm not actually going full tilt boogie, but looking like it. I think I'm looking at like hanging a weighted rope, either in my room or maybe here in the office, and gonna be using that as striking at it, but not actually moving it, if that makes any kind of sense. Obviously there's going to be some strikes, because obviously with stage combat you have to make it look like you're trying to hit each other, but obviously you can't. So control, meaning I don't want to actually hurt anybody. There are going to be the occasional lump here and there, no big deal, but got to make sure I'm in control of my strikes. Other than that, solid night. Looking forward to next week. Yeah, I hope we can get better at doing this, and excuse me. I'm definitely looking forward to continuing on with this, and hope you guys enjoy listening, viewing my blog, and we'll talk to you again next week. This is again the Man in Black, signing off.